However, after his last appearance in Season 8, T was briefly seen in Season 14, and that set the internet on fire. Questions about a return began to spread. Would T come back for a cameo? Being a fan favorite comes with perks, but it also has downsides. One of the many downsides is being the subject of baseless rumors. The only viable explanation for why he made a short appearance in Season 14 was maybe the episode was pre-recorded. Since his departure, the show has moved forward with new faces. In later seasons, Drew brought in dealers like Alistair Dryburgh and Vicky Knott, each with different styles and personalities. Although the new cast brought a fresh vibe to the series, many fans continued to miss T's calm presence and dry humor. His role had been more than just hauling antiques. He had been Drew's companion on the road, the man who cracked jokes between long drives and made hard work look easier. Fast forward to 2023. T's official statement about leaving the show was posted on Instagram. After what amounted to 11 years on the road, he officially took the big step. This was a pretty big piece of news for the show's loyal viewers. It marked the end of an era for many who had grown accustomed to seeing him as a regular presence. According to reliable sources, the main reason for T's exit came down to contracts. The sources confirmed that he did not extend his agreement for the most recent season, which naturally brought his time on the program to an end. In the entertainment industry, contracts play a vital role in who stays and who goes. Now, to address the questions about a comeback. Since T's contract was not renewed, a return to the series appears unlikely. While many fans continue to hope for a surprise cameo, the reality is that once a contract lapses, producers usually move on with new cast members. In T's case, that seems to be exactly what happened. Soon after John T stepped away from Salvage Hunters, speculation about his personal life began to spread. One of the most talked about rumors linked him to Rebecca Pritchard, Drew's former partner on the show. The gossip suggested that T and Rebecca were in a relationship, and for a while, it became a trendy topic among fans. Social media threads and online forums turned it into a hot topic. However, the rumor was never confirmed. Neither T nor Rebecca addressed it publicly, and Drew himself never spoke about it. With the internet these days, rumors often take on a life of their own. Fans who missed T on screen were quick to latch on to any explanation that might shed light on why he had quietly stepped away. Linking his departure to Rebecca gave the gossip an edge that made it spread even faster. While the contract issue was the clear reason for T's exit, many fans believe the Rebecca rumor played its part. T was never someone who sought the spotlight, and being at the center of speculation about a co-star's personal life may have been more pressure than he cared to handle. For a man known for his easygoing nature, it is a no-brainer that such gossip might have encouraged him to keep his distance from the cameras. Additionally, the timing also played a role. The talk about T and Rebecca grew louder right around the time he stopped appearing on the show. This gave fans more reason to believe the rumor. In the entertainment industry, perception can be just as powerful as fact. And once the story gains traction, debunking does very little. For Drew Pritchard, Rebecca, and T, the show was always about antiques and the thrill of discovery. Their dynamic as colleagues made Salvage Hunters a success, but personal speculation sometimes overshadowed the work they were known for. Another faction of fans believe T left the show for health reasons. You see, as years went by on Salvage Hunters, many viewers began to notice that John T looked different. His face appeared slimmer on screen. Fans who had followed him from the early days were quick to point it out, and online forums soon picked up speed. Some claimed he had been struggling with his weight for years, while others speculated that he had developed health issues, even pointing to thyroid problems. However, reports later revealed that T had been struggling with weight problems linked to his eating habits and was eventually diagnosed with a thyroid condition. His doctors advised him to take the issue seriously and begin working toward a healthier lifestyle. The diagnosis pushed T to make changes. He reduced his affinity for bottles, cut back on calories, and worked toward more balanced meals. Light exercise was also part of his new plan, with doctors recommending activities like walking and swimming along with prescribed medication. These adjustments helped him lose weight and improve his health. The difference was not only clear to him, but also visible to fans who saw him each season. His slimmer frame became a talking point, and many viewers saw it as proof that T was focusing on himself in a new way. When you compare this with the demands of his work on the show, the decision to leave makes even more sense. T spent years traveling with Drew, collecting antiques. The routine left little time for proper rest, steady meals, or consistent exercise. For someone trying to reset his health, a schedule like that made progress difficult. So, fans speculated that leaving the show gave him the chance to create a life that supported his recovery. Linking his health to his exit is understandable. A thyroid condition requires proper care and attention, but the strenuous activities on the show offered the opposite. For T, the choice was simple. Step away, focus on his health, and enjoy more time at home. While we've talked about the possible reasons why John T left the show, let's also talk about the behind-the-scenes drama that might have contributed to it. In 2017, news broke that Drew and Rebecca Pritchard had divorced after many years of marriage. While other factors contributed to the divorce, the pressure of their busy schedules on Salvage hunters also played a role in the split. Their separation marked a turning point not just in their personal lives, but also in the atmosphere around the show itself. For years, Drew and Rebecca had worked side by side. Rebecca had even appeared on screen as a co-host. Together, they balanced the show in a way that made it appealing to viewers. Fans enjoyed their chemistry, the way they worked through deals, and how their partnership added a steady rhythm to Drew's hunts. After the divorce, that dynamic shifted. Rebecca stepped back from filming, and the balance that her presence had brought to the series was no longer there. This change was felt by everyone in the production, not only by Drew, but also by the cast and crew who had grown used to that structure. John T, who had spent years on the road with Drew, was one of those affected. The breakup meant the team was never quite the same. Even though this reason doesn't fully hold water, it likely contributed to why T stepped away from the show. Since leaving, T has kept a low profile and has not returned to the show. Unlike many television personalities who move into new shows or start businesses, T has chosen privacy. There is no record of him starting a new antiques venture under his own name or appearing in any other program. The only clear information about T since his time on the show came from Drew Pritchard. According to Drew, T didn't renew his contract because he wanted to spend more time at home with his family. He described the move as a personal choice and said the two remained close friends. T himself backed this up on his Facebook page, telling fans that he wasn't fired and that he had simply decided to move on. As of 2025, there have been no verified reports of health setbacks or new projects since T's departure. Most of what is known about him today comes from Drew's interviews and T's own short posts online. Let's roll it back to how John T joined the show. T became one of the most familiar faces as Drew Pritchard's companion, cracking jokes and helping haul the heavy finds that defined the show. Yet, before the series brought him into the public eye, T had lived a largely private life. He always kept his personal life away from the spotlight. There are no public records that reveal his date of birth, where he went to school, or details about his family. What is known, however, is that T had been part of Drew's life long before Salvage hunters became a fixture on British television. Drew once recalled their childhood days in North Wales when he and T would wander the beaches looking for oars and boat parts. They would carry their finds home and sell them by the roadside. That memory places T beside Drew from a young age, showing the same curiosity for finding and moving old things even when they were just boys. That early bond carried into adulthood. T understood the demands of long trips, the patience needed to hunt down hidden items, and the simple satisfaction of turning forgotten pieces into something valuable again. This behind-the-scenes role is what first tied him to the world that would later make him a household name. By the time cameras arrived, T already knew the game, and the rest is history. Just a short message just to let you know that after 11 years with Salvage, I've decided it's time to move on. Been lucky enough over the years to work with some amazing crew, visited some stunning locations, and filmed with some lovely people. So, thank you all for watching. Salvage Hunters introduced viewers to a world where hidden treasures were discovered in old buildings and markets. Among the cast, John T stood out with his humor and easygoing nature. Fans enjoyed watching him alongside Drew Pritchard, sharing laughs on long drives and lending a hand with heavy lifts. However, when T suddenly stopped appearing on the show, questions began to swirl. Was it conflict or something else? Join us as we uncover what really happened to John T from Salvage Hunters. And obviously, the biggest thank you goes to T. He took a chance and very much made the program his own with his unrelenting humor and off-the-cuff one-liners. His love and respect for the crew and the contributors were an integral part of the success of the show. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. After Season 8 wrapped in 2016, fans of Salvage Hunters noticed something unusual. John T., Drew's bearded sidekick, was missing from new episodes. At first, it seemed like it was nothing to worry about since not all cast members get to feature on all episodes. However, in subsequent seasons, his absence seemed permanent. Apparently, T had slipped out of the spotlight without notice, leaving many to wonder what happened. Fans kept demanding answers from the show producers. Was T fired? Was he unwell? Or did something happen behind the scenes? The mystery only deepened because there was no farewell episode and no official announcement at that time. True to his low-key personality, T left the show quietly, just as he had always lived. Later, Drew Pritchard took it upon himself to clear the air. He explained that T simply wanted to spend more time at home with his family. Drew said T's decision was personal. There was no fallout and no conflict. He had been on the road for years and decided it was time to take a back seat. Drew even described the move as everything that he wanted. For fans who knew T's humble attitude, it made sense. He was never in it for fame or attention. The demands of the job had been draining. For nearly a decade, T traveled across the United Kingdom, hauling bathtubs and antique furniture across the country. Rain or shine, he worked through long days and tough conditions. Even though he never mentioned health concerns, many fans suspected fatigue played a part in his decision to leave. Prior to joining forces with Drew, T also tried his hand at acting. In 2008, he appeared in a short comedic film titled Late Night Burrito Place. In that film, he played the guy who got kicked out by his girlfriend. It was a small role, but it showed another side of T. The short film was never widely distributed, but it remains part of his story. For those unfamiliar with his background, it is surprising to learn that T once stood in front of a camera, not as himself but as a character in a comedy. While it never led to a larger acting career, it helped him gain experience. Fast forward to 2011, Salvage Hunters launched on Quest. The show followed what Drew was already doing with his business, and T, being his sidekick, just needed to face the camera. The transition was natural for T. Producers did not cast him. He did not audition. He was simply there riding with Drew. What began as background appearances soon became regular screen time. By 2015, T was firmly established as part of the show's cast. His bond with Drew was strong, built on years of friendship. Their conversations, shared jokes, and ability to handle long days together gave the program an energetic vibe that no script could have created. No doubt fans of John T would miss him. Some of T's most memorable moments on the show include the opening episode of Season 14, when Drew and T crossed the channel into France, a country known for its sprawling fairs and hidden treasures. The pair found themselves in the middle of a vast French market, surrounded by rows of dealers and antiques that could overwhelm even an expert eye. Drew moved through the space quickly, scanning the obvious pieces, but it was T who slowed his pace. His eyes settled on a carved wooden panel half hidden among piles of furniture and decorative ornaments. It would have been easy to miss. T's instinct told him it was worth a second look. He called Drew's attention to it, and together they examined the piece more closely. What seemed ordinary at first revealed detailed carvings that hinted at a genuine artifact. Drew was impressed and without hesitation secured it. Later, when the item's full value was displayed on screen, it became clear that T's moment of quiet observation became one of the standout finds of the trip. In another episode, Drew and T traveled to a small 12th century church that had been stripped of much of its grandeur but still held items worth saving. The place was cluttered with broken beams. As Drew moved ahead, scanning the obvious pieces, T slowed down and took in the details. Among the pile, he noticed a carved panel that seemed ordinary at first glance. He paused, picked it up, and pointed out a faint mark hidden on its other side. Drew had already passed it without noticing, but T's sharp eye caught the subtle engraving. When they turned it over fully, the mark confirmed the panel as a genuine medieval piece. What could have been overlooked as scrap instantly became one of the most valuable finds of the day. Another memorable moment came in Season 14, Episode 8, when the duo traveled to a flea market in Hungary in search of antiques. In the middle of the clutter, T noticed a porcelain bowl tucked under a few frames. He reached down, picked it up gently, and showed it to Drew. After a closer look, Drew pointed out the maker stamp, which confirmed its value. The bowl turned out to be rare and one of the best finds of that trip. Fans remember this scene because T's quiet attention led to a discovery that could easily have been missed. In Season 9, Episode 7, Drew and T traveled to a steam railway in Devon. The site was filled with heavy machinery and piles of old train parts. As they looked around, T slowed down near a stack of worn train seats. Behind them, he noticed a small brass valve cover with fine detailing. He pointed it out. When Drew took a closer look, he realized it was a rare piece worth taking back. Later in the same trip, they visited a small theater in Aberdeen. The building was packed with wooden panels and decorative fittings. While Drew scanned the larger items, T noticed a wooden relief with a carved film reel design. It was a subtle detail that could easily have gone unnoticed. T drew Drew's attention to it, and the motif turned out to be a valuable piece of cinema history. Another remarkable moment came in the episode titled Homes of Fellow Dealers. In this episode, Drew and T were searching through the homes of fellow antique dealers. Inside one storage vault, the space was packed tightly with furniture stacked so closely together that much of it looked unremarkable at first glance. Drew moved on quickly, overlooking an old wooden chest. T, however, slowed down. He bent closer to the piece and noticed a faint maker's signature carved into the side. When he pointed it out, Drew examined the mark and realized it was the work of a mid-century craftsman. What had appeared to be an ordinary chest was suddenly revealed as a valuable artisan piece.